What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Teofimo Lopez Sr. and seconds out. Shout out to Radio Raheem. I just watched this video. Okay, actually, I saw it yesterday, but now I have time to counterpunch it appropriately, and we're going to go through this video and hear the explanation and the response of Lopez Sr. on his take on the loss by decision from his son to George Kambosos Jr. Okay, so we're going to go through that, and there's a lot of things I want to counter, so stay with me so I can counter it appropriately. Okay, and here we go with Radio Raheem and Lopez Sr.
Raheem here with Teofimo Lopez Sr. I know as a trainer and a father, it's always tough to watch your son take a loss, especially his first loss. How did you feel in the corner when that decision was read, a split decision for Kambosos?
Man, listen, man. You saw me in every round jumping up and down and telling my son, you got that. You got that. You got that. You got that. You can't win a fight if you're not staying busy. My son was touching him every second. You know, it's just the way it is, man. You know what I'm saying? He was coming up too fast, too strong, making a lot of noise, and things happen, you know what I'm saying? Things happen, you know. But we strong. We got the he's a people's champ. So we're gonna be selling out arenas. This didn't hurt us at all, man. It just made us better. You know what I'm saying? The whole world knows about this. The whole world's going to be talking about this for weeks.
Okay, let me counterpunch. He said that due to the reaction that he was giving Teo, and the props he was giving Teo, just let him know he was convinced that his son was winning. And he said the way you win fights, of course, so you got to touch him, every second or whatnot. And he was doing that. I would have to disagree. He was not doing that. He came out doing that at the beginning until he got hit. Yeah. I mean, Teo was a live wire. He came out like Mike Tyson on a normal, average, everyday prime fight that he goes in there and knocks a guy out in the first round. Good night. Bars. That's what we saw Teofimo doing, okay? And when he got hit, that stopped, okay? Because the second round was more calculated. The third round was more calculated. Though there weren't, the first versus the second and the third were night and day, okay? He was not fighting in the second and the third like he was fighting in the first, all right? So we got to make that apparent. And him saying that, hey, he was winning every round. You got this. You got this. Listen, that's no different from like Rob McCracken and company for Anthony Joshua and telling him brilliant. Okay, that's no different. You guys remember that. Brilliant, AJ. Brilliant. Well, that's no different from him saying, you got that round. You got that round, kid. And all that. No, you didn't. And then that just shows you that, hey, he shouldn't have actually been giving his son those type of responses, okay? And if he couldn't see that his son was losing, he shouldn't have been there. Let's continue.
Feel like the layoff, continuing to push the fight, had anything to do with that?
Don't talk to me like that, man. Everybody knows he won it. He won that fight. Everybody knows that. You know what I'm saying? I had it 10-2, 9-3. Everybody was just upset. They booed the decision in the Madison Square Garden. So we just gotta keep on living and do big fights and selling out arenas like we did tonight. And we sold out the Madison Square Garden on vaccination time.
So. This is Lopez Sr., so he was a kind of offended on how, Radio Raheem came at him about the layoff, and he didn't like that because that would appear like it was an excuse for the performance or the lack of performance thereof. So me counterpunching Lopez Sr. Everybody knew he won the fight. Who was everybody? Who was he referring to? Really? 10-2, 9-3? Really? I mean, who was you talking about? Who thought that your son won the fight besides the people that you randomly ran into from the time you left that ring for the time you got to that dressing room? And then people will do that because people do like, people like dick riding. Let's just face it. People like to do that. They like to kiss up and stuff like that. And it's like, people start booing over the decision. No, they weren't booing over the decision, Lopez Sr. They were booing because Teofimo Lopez said that and thought that he won this fight. That's when they start booing. Absolutely. Okay, so I think he needs to watch that again, but of course he won't because he already has it figured out. Let's continue.
Saying, well, you gotta be vaccinated to get inside. So at the end of the night, the whole arena was upset at what happened, and I don't blame my son for nothing. We've been at this weight for 8 years at 135, and it's time to move up. You know what I'm saying? It's time to go up to the 140, and this bullshit laws, because it's a bullshit laws, and I should have never fought with the zone. I should have stood with Top Rank, because those are the people that really love us, and I learned. You learn from your mistakes, you know what I'm saying? So we go back with Top Rank and 2 pay-per-view fights next year, and then an ESPN fight. I mean, everybody know what happened.
Wow. Okay. He says he never should have went with the zone. Okay. What did the zone have to do with the judges? What did the zone have to do with anything? Your son was in there fighting this other fighter that he couldn't stop. He couldn't drop him like he did Comey and get him out of there and the fight gets stopped and all that. He couldn't do that. Okay. Lopez, Teofimo didn't, he stopped using his jab. He abandoned his jab. He thought he was Roy Jones or somebody like that. He thought he was going to come in there and throw random punches to get the knockout. And that did not work for him. It did not work for him at all. It didn't start working until he came on the inside and Kambosos got a little lazy and he caught him in the 10th round. But it took him 10 freaking rounds to drop Kambosos with the power that, everyone was praising of Teo, and and he got back up, got right back on his game plan, survived those punches, and there you go. See, what Lopez is saying, his father, if he beat him 9 rounds out of 3 or 10 rounds out of 2, what he's really saying is either your son don't have punching power like he's supposed to, or George Kambosos has a better chin than you guys expected, or both. Right? That could always be the case. But either way, you're saying that, hey, my son won. My son did this. What did your son really do? What was the excuse for the bleeding, the cuts, the bruises, the swelling? Right? Why did he look like Rocky Balboa? Shout out to my Uncle C. Right? Why did he look like that? Because it was like, well, you look like freaking Hollywood movie by the time that was over. Okay, so him saying I shouldn't have went with the zone, what network had to do with it? You went with the zone because the guaranteed money was there on a streaming service. Okay, so I don't get why you're talking about the zone as that's a reason. That by itself sounds like an excuse. Honestly. Let's move forward.
Okay.
When you say 2 fights next year, do you intend to rematch and have Lopez an opportunity to reclaim these titles?
No rematch, man. My mistake was leaving my son at 135 so long, you know what I'm saying? Because in this game, you got to knock everybody out. If you don't knock them out, this is what happens, It was a complete robbery. We dictated the fight from the beginning, aggressively, taking all those points. Everybody in the world knows what happened. Everybody's saying that he won 9-3, 10-2. You know what I'm saying? The whole arena saw it, and
I gotta stop that, man, because I'm looking at Radio Raheem, right? And Radio Raheem's like, everybody, like, who you talking about? You know, look, you don't have to say anything without your facial expressions. Your facial expressions tell it all, because your facial expressions, that's a part of your tone. So, you know, that shows you what type of spirit you're in without even you talking. And Radio Raheem, he was, he's interviewing, but he's listening to what Teo's saying. It's like, okay, you went from, he stayed at the weight class too long. People thought that your son won 10 rounds to 2, but yet he stayed there too long. So what did staying at 135 do too long, like being that weight, have anything to do with his performance if you already thought he won? Why bring that up? That's what I don't understand. I mean, I didn't hear anything that affected his punching power, his physicality, his endurance, his stamina. None of that had anything to do with what he said, because normally when you bring up he stayed at a weight class too long, you're conveying that that particular fighter did not have something that he was supposed to due to weight drainage. Counterpunch. So I'm not really understanding, what's going on. So I'm going to end this video here, and we're going to start with a part 2. So stay tuned for that. Until then, you guys been counterpunched. Peace.